Divine Rise, blessed be to your day. May it be everything you require to create everything you desire. We feeling good. Hey, we feeling good. Hey, we feeling great. We feeling good. We feeling great. We feeling awesome. We amazing. We're the best. We are everything that we require to create everything that we desire. We just got to step out of that stagnant space. Instead of fearing the chaos, we got to become the understanding of our own chaos to become the best and become the masters of ourselves. Divine Rise, blessed be to your day. May it be everything, especially on this Thursday, the day of 10. Your day is shaped by your thoughts. Your day is shaped by your connotations. Your day is shaped by your thoughts. Your life is shaped by your thoughts. Your life is shaped by the connotations that you agree to or the connotations that you set into the space. I'm feeling really, really wavy right now. I'm feeling really, really good right now. Went on my nice walk. Y'all saw the video for the walk. I just dropped a TikTok video to my story. I got some sessions planned today. I just sent out some packs because I'm new service coming to be available. Facilitating your flights and your trips. Y'all stay tuned for that. All this week we've been getting into the aspects of your goals, your roles, living in that state of redemption on the God Hour podcast. Tomorrow we're gonna get into that generational curse aspect, real deep into that generational curses and trauma and the collateral clauses. But I wanted to drop off again. Connotations of your comfort. One of the things that I had to realize was it wasn't the releasing, it was the understanding if I'm replacing based on my growth, or am I simply staying in a state where I'm putting things in points so I can continue regressing back to that behavior. That was based on me going through the state of understanding, was I avoiding or was I facing breaking my patterns? And learning to set my direction by first understanding that my thoughts set the course of my direction. Everything that I say naturally comes into my space. But if I don't have trust in myself, then I don't have trust in what I bring into my space. Everything is enhanced by my original thought, my emotions. So that connotation of comfort, what have you defined as comfort? Remember, stepping out of that good and bad shit. You're getting into positive, negative. You're getting into the aspects of the duality of yourself. So what have you designed in your space, in your life, that you design as comfort? Look at your life. Everything inside of your space, you are naturally telling you that's how you seek comfort. Everything that you set based on your traumatic aspects that you have not dealt with, that's what you set in your space that you're saying is comfort. You are comfortable in being able to stay in a state of reaction. You're comfortable in it. That's why it continues to happen. That's why you continue to overreact. That's why you continue to jump to those conclusions. Because you living in that cycle of your work. We talked about that last night. You living in that cycle of your worst case scenario. If it wasn't for this, I would be doing this. If it wasn't for this, I'd be doing this. Okay. What's stopping you from doing it? Man, I got bills. Okay. Everybody has bills. But if my connotation of my comfort is not learning how to expand myself, where I need to apply myself, assessing my true abilities versus my efforts, then I'm always going to be looking at my effort. I put in so much time. I put in so much work in a state of possession. I put in so much time and it keep falling apart. What is the basis of it, how it falls apart? How do you feel once the shit fall apart? That's going to be your key to unlocking your shit. So many times for myself, I would avoid just that aspect. I would avoid that emotion. I would avoid this aspect of myself that I was not ready to deal with. And I could just keep making excuses. I just kept making newer, more and more of the same old patterns and connotations to stop me from doing what the fuck I said I needed to do. Even when I remember when I started using a vision board, and then I look at the vision board, and then the room that I put the vision board in, I avoid going. Something in me would stop me from going into that room. The guilt, that same wound, that same aspect that I wasn't dealing with, the same reason that I created the vision board was the same reason that I avoided the vision board. Because I did not understand the true aptitude of what I was creating that vision board for. The same reason that I would go to do my workouts was the same reason that I stopped doing my workouts. I could jazz it up and put some glamour on it and be like, that's the reason I stopped doing my workouts. Because I was still stuck within the same mindset. I talked about it in the video when we were at the park. That I got to mentality. So as long as I was stuck in, I got to go to the gym. As this example. As long as I was stuck in, I got to go to the gym. Everything that would come up would now be an obstacle versus me in this state of I got to go there. Everything that would become an obstacle, from me waking the fuck up to me setting my direction and my course to go to the gym, to how I spend money for the gym, to how I paid for the gym, because I'm looking at I can't afford this. Instead of me switching to I get to go to the gym. I get to go to the gym. So how can I, instead of me saying I can't, now I'm looking at how can I afford this? That forces you to go deeper inside of yourself and go beyond the surface. A lot of the things that I used to try to maintain were based on the surface level aspect. I gotta go get my hair cut, because if I don't get my hair cut, the people are gonna look at me like motherfuckers gonna look at me like I'm crazy. You look at it, I have not had a haircut for about a year now. I had to move past that point of reaction of what people thought about me not having a haircut. My new growth is crazy in my locks. But I get to allow myself to grow. I get to allow myself to be inside of my space and stay out of that comfort zone. Exactly. That staying in the now aspect, staying in the now and reminding yourself to stay in the present. One of the keys that I learned to stay in the present moment is I have to create something that is in the now, that is, even if it's in the aspect of a shadow, like when we go into the deep aspects of our shadow. And if I'm creating something that's in my now, I have to assess what comes up. That means if I feel anxious, that means if I feel overwhelmed, if I start to overthink, if I feel guilt, if I feel this emotional aspect coming up, that's going to be the key for me to understand my pace that controls my patience. That's going to be that key to help you understand how to set that tone for your patience. Your pace, or that emotional undertone, that anxiety, that doubt, that feeling itself, that's the undertone that sets your pace in order for you to learn your patience and stepping into this now. I remember waking up I remember my first time trying to meditate, really. I remember my first time trying to meditate. Shit was atrocious. And the main reason my meditations were atrocious is because I was concentrating on the light that I could see. I'm sitting here with my eyes closed, literally trying to see the light. Trying to see what's already there. Instead of allowing myself to go into that dark space. Allow the emotions to come up. Like one of the main things that I do in sessions is I teach and I counsel and I guide people through the aspects of their letting that noise in. Because we've been taught that love and light answer, hey, when you go into meditation, clear your mind. Nah, you ain't never gonna get nowhere. Much, much gratitude. My aspect in that space, I had to realize that I wouldn't get anywhere if I was trying to preserve myself in this light, because only thing that was in the light were more, I could just dress it up and doll it up. That's why you have so many people right now. Like, think about it like this. There's somebody around you right now that is in their damn near in their fucking 40s that is still dressing or in the aptitudes of when they were because they lost their 20s. They feel like they still lost their 20s. They lost their chance to be a child. They lost their chance because of what they were doing. So instead of facing that, they try to preserve what they can as a way of avoiding that aspect. I had a childhood. Instead of me sitting in a space saying I didn't have a childhood, I have to now remove myself past the point of reaction and be like, yeah, I had a childhood. My childhood was crazy. Once I really stepped into it and started accepting it, everything that happened in my childhood was a tool that was prepared that I needed anyway. That's how I accepted my contract. Everything from making sure watching my brothers and sisters and things of that nature. We put ourselves in this connotation that the first thing that we want to say is, as soon as that's not right, you don't need to stop yelling at okay. You can stop yelling at your children. You can stop doing the surface level shit. You can stop it. But it does me no good until I understand the why and the basis of where I learned such behavior. The only way I'm going to learn such behavior is by someone sitting there, even if I don't know how to check myself, and allowing the perception of others to check me. One of them simpler factors of that, y'all remember back in the day, they still do it. Y'all remember back in the day when every time they was like, when it came out with like, don't beat your children, and everything motherfucker said was white people shit. Don't beat your kid. What the fuck you mean? If I don't beat my child, and then you go quote that Bible scripture, spare the rod, spare the child. And you've been living in that same damn void your entire self. Tom, you now living out that example in yourself, that connotation. You've been beating yourself up this entire time to say that was your sense of your discipline. You've been doing it the entire time. These are the things that we talk about when we talk about these curses that we start trying to break. Stop trying to preserve the light. We got to talk about generational curses when it comes to money. Money's the byproduct of my emotions. So it don't matter how much money I make. I've told this example before. It don't matter how much money I make. I can go make, like for example, from the sessions that I've done, I can make $10,000 this month. Grand Rising. I can go make $10,000 this month. But if my mindset, my emotions are still in the same space, all I'm gonna do is do the same things I did when I was wishing for the $10,000. I'm gonna keep doing the same things I did every time that I get anything, I'm automatically going to use it because I'm going to keep saying that it's not enough. Because I'm reflecting my value into the space. I don't understand. I don't now have emotional intelligence or literacy. Therefore, I don't have financial literacy. I do not understand that. I don't understand these traumatic aspects of my bondages, how I'm bonding myself. This is when you want to go to, let's go to Revelations in the Bible, and let's talk about the devil being trapped in hell in the rings. That's you. Those are your rings. You trapped in the rings of your own self, of your own creation. Them same rings, take that same story, them same rings, we don't break down on tomorrow, them same rings, and then go look at the tree of life. Don't they look familiar? Don't them ciphers look familiar? Oh, that's what it was. You've been the only thing in yourself holding you back. You've been the only thing in your space holding you back. And then you just keep building things around you to keep further reflecting how you hold yourself back. By you trying to make sure everybody else is good on their path, you forgot your path. I'm not saying from the sense, and when I say this, I can't stress this enough. I'm not saying from the point that, I'm not saying this from a point of you not having this unconditional set. If you feel it in yourself that you do it, it is not based on guilt or you trying to see, you remembering you were in that space, because that's how you're going to get fed. That's how you feed. That's how you feed and get fed on. I'm talking about coming into this healed space with yourself when you're in an empathic sense. I'm an empath. That means you practice empathy. I'm an empath. That means I'm on the road to learn empathy. That does not mean that that's why I'm so sensitive, and that's why I feel everybody's pain, and that's why I try to help everybody. You just made that another cop-out. I am an empath. I work in the shadows. I have I'm open to unconditional learning within every space that I go into. I had to allow myself to become uncomfortable and allow myself to become triggered by others' perceptions of me. I had to move past the point of reaction to saying, motherfuckers trying to play me, because that was what was feeding my shadow. All I was doing is echoing my damn shadow. I'm sitting there in that space. Exactly, I am. I'm sitting in that space, upset that things aren't going the way that I want. But I'm not, for once, looking that maybe I'm not the role that is intended for that goal. We talked about that this week. Maybe I'm not the role that's needed for that goal. Maybe it's something about my thought process that's hindering me from this goal. Maybe it's something that I set up in my own thought process or scenario that's now making me stagnant. There's a difference between me now and me then. Not just they reflect in the physical aspect, but there's a difference between me now and me from 3 weeks ago. Hell, there's a difference between there's a difference in me between now and a few hours ago when I dropped the video when I was at the park. When I was looking to listen at the playback of the video, my voice changed. I was in a different space. But instead of for me to remain present, I had to accept that I was in that space. Everything that came up, I had to deal. Everything I came up with, I had to I was bringing myself back to my center point. Back to that center point. That way I can experience that space. No matter what came up in that space. Hell, I could have been walking and there could have been some lady walking with her dog, or there could have been some people sitting there on the corner over there on the side somewhere, and then I could have been like, oh, well, I'm not going to go over here today. I had to go think, like, nigga, that would have been in my mindset anyway. I put that there in my mindset. I said to myself, I'm not going to go. How many times have I said to myself, I'm not going to go do this, or I'm not going to go over here, or I'm not going to be a part of this because of who's all over there? How many times? Think about that shit. You make a phone call or a text message right now about an event, and you'll be like, who's all over there? No matter who's all over there, because I'm open to the experience. Apparently, I need to go over there. Apparently, it's something I haven't learned yet. There's a difference between the experience and observation. That means if I know, see, the more you start peeling them layers back, going into that darkness of hell with yourself, and you start associating yourself with your demons, your darkest parts, and you start really having that conversation with them, because they all remnants of the aspects of your inner child. That's your inner intellect that you have not understood yet. That's the connotation of your comfort. You ain't doing nothing. Until you do that, you ain't gonna build you. Until you do that, everything that you build is gonna be set to the tone of that space. Everything that I did was set to the tone of my old self. So of course I would get old results. I needed things in my space to define me in this state. And I'm talking about this selflessness. In this aspect of selflessness, their perceptions created the body that I would move through, and naturally I would become, my inner child being undisciplined, guess what? Would be very, very selfish. So my reaction would be, what if I stop coming around here? What if I stop doing this? What if I stop doing this? So then I grew the thought, oh, it's because of this. That's why I know what it is. More assumptions to feed my already present anger, to feed my already present doubt in myself, to feed my fucking insecurity. That's all I was doing until I learned to sit the fuck back. Until I learned that the point of nothingness is that point of balance for me to become the absolute truth to myself. I own myself. I own myself. Everything that I do is based on that level of ownership. We are in sync. This is not based on you trying to, I want to make everybody, no. How you see me, this is the comfort of beat. How you see me is exactly what you need to see. Until I understood that aspect of myself, I'd be stuck in it. That's how motherfuckers would feed. I would react to it. How you see me is how you need to see me. The only thing that I got to do is make sure, the only thing that I got to do is make sure that I got purposes and points of how you get to react to me. How you get to come to this space. I set the tone and the value. I'm an infinite being. I'm ancient as fuck. I do not speak in a tone that is meant to make you comfortable. Those are things that I had to learn from my inner trauma. That's the reason that the points, and this is, I'm gonna give you a key and we're gonna get deep into this tomorrow night. One of the things that I had to learn was the points of where I would freeze based on how my pops used to talk. Pops had a very strong and stern voice and a very looming voice. That shit fucked me up to how I would speak, because I learned how to speak my throat. I learned how to speak only through anger. I learned how to only speak through fear. So until I accepted that I was speaking through fear, I couldn't accept what the fuck was coming in my space was based on fear. was based on rejection. So then I found myself in situations and places that were based on keeping me comfortable. Remember, your comfort zone is simply where you can react. So if you're able to react in the old aspects of yourself, the old thought processes that you're not assessing, that's your comfort zone. Comfort ain't got nothing to do with good or bad, that old moral compass. Because there's things that I did that were comfortable, that were bad as hell, that were deemed as bad and deemed as fucked up. But it was in my, I stayed comfortable. There were things that I did that were good, that brought me comfort, just like the same things that I did that were deemed bad. Oh, you out in the streets, you out here doing this, you out here doing this, this, and this, that's bad. No, it serves me a purpose where I'm at right now. Until I sit with this and understand and go back to it, then I'm never going to understand what I need to do to move forward. I'm only going to keep repeating the same shit. I'm only going to keep regressing. That's why you need that moment that forces your ass to sit down. Because it forces you to say, this, and this, bro, and the reason I put it in my space. The reason that I clung to that was basically to avoid myself. Your connotations of comfort. Yeah. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My YouTube channel, Gotta Co-Alchemist. Y'all tune in to class. We're gonna be getting into the collateral clauses. Uh-huh. And that's how and then that's the echo that I live in. One of the things, you cannot keep running from yourself. You can't keep running from this work. You can, but you're just gonna end up with the same result. You don't keep making a circle because you're stuck in that you're stuck in that cipher. But tomorrow night, collateral clauses. We're gonna get into the breakdown of generational trauma, generational curses, past life regression. We're gonna get very deep into this topic because it's a very important topic, and you stepping into your breaking the bounds of your hell loops in your shadow work and growing and building some shit. Everything that you gotta do, you gotta remove the biases to why you doing shit. Everything that I do comes from a point of where I always will remain impartial. That's gonna be one of the major keys into your work. Everything that you do is your piece is you remaining impartial. That means no matter what comes up, you learn to respond and not react. That was one of the hardest things for me to learn. That's the hardest thing for a lot of us to learn. But once I started mastering those spaces and started looking at my observations, that's when a lot of shit started opening up for me. That's when I started understanding the difference between me being independent and me being self-sufficient. See, me being self-sufficient is my ability to use the resources that are around me, to use them as they are. Not try to make it, because when you're stuck in this role of independence with yourself and the thing you keep telling yourself that nobody can get to you and nobody can hurt you and nobody can do those things. Gratitude. Then I couldn't understand that I had multiple things around me that were resources to me. And learning how to use those resources without feeling awkward or removing this layer of guilt and this insecurity for asking these questions or setting these tones. Because a lot of times with myself, like for me, what I do now in that aspect, and that's what I wanted to talk about, I'm starting the facilitation process of trips. One of my newest products, one of my clients from yesterday, we were having a conversation, Spirit was like, ask them if they ever did this before. I was like, all right, bet. Okay, cool. They didn't set that up. I have the resource in front. I had the resource. It was simply as while I was having that session, I typed in the message, typed in the messenger to my to Donya. I was like, hey, how much for this, this, and this? Set the price, set the point, and went forward. That's what you're doing now when you become self-sufficient. Understanding that everything in your space being a reflection of you, you are always in the right position that is there to teach you. Sometimes you got to stop trying to be the leader and learn how to follow your true intuition. Your intuition always takes you outside of your comfort zone. So if it's not, I'm gonna give you this key. If it's not taking you outside of your comfort zone, it is an emotional point that's leading you. If it's taking you outside of your comfort zone, it's your intuition. Because your intuition forces you, like most of the things in your life, your intuition is the key to forcing you to become emotionally present. But yeah, y'all stay tuned for more of those aspects. God Hour Podcast is out now, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Godico Alchemist, the YouTube channel. We're going to get into class. Everything from booking the mini readings, consultations, and ask me about many of my other services, including shadow work the shadow work therapy, which is the shadow work therapy is a confine that I downloaded a while back that goes into the aspects of healing everything, not just going through the aspects of surface level shit. We're talking about going into the inner aspects of yourself, into the deepest, darkest parts of your hell loops and everything that's inside of your darkness that you, yeah. So that's what I do. But I desire you to be the fucking best. Nothing stopping you but you. I love you. We love us. Ashe.